let's hop in.
Let's hop into it. Yes,
let's hop into the conversation, Gabby. Let's talk about Mega Lopunny. Surprisingly, it's not, it's not one of the most common Pokemon, but it is one of the fastest Pokemon in the metagame.
It is, and when it Mega Evolves, it has access to the ability Scrappy, which allows its normal type attacks like Fake Out to make contact with Ghost type Pokemon. So it has really great utility in that regard. It can outspeed Sneasler, which is typically, one of those Pokemon that's really fast before Unburden activates, and otherwise can just be a very powerful Pokemon to stare down. Unfortunately, that power comes at the cost of its defenses, as one would come to expect in this format. So when you look at the rest of the team, it really does a great job of rounding it out. You have both Reflect and Light Screen on that Sableye. You have that Pelipper as well, the bold nature or stat alignment, so that it can have that bulk to sort of stick around and support the Lopunny. And of course, Stamina Archaludon, another Pokemon known for its bulk to just stick around on the field to make up for the fact that Lopunny might not be sticking around much longer.
Yeah, I really love Lopunny. I think it's a really fun Mega because it's so fast, can't be intimidated. You mentioned hitting the Ghost types. We haven't seen any Aegislash on stream, or if there were opposing Sableyes, those are Pokemon that don't have to worry about being hit by close combat, except a super effective close combat from a scrappy Mega Lopunny. So excited for Mega Venusaur as well. I think it is a fantastic Mega Evolution here in this metagame, especially, or particularly, I should say, against Mega Scovillain because of that thick, fat ability.
It's kind of an interesting spot for Chase to be in because Zachary is going to be running that team we saw do incredibly well in Turin last weekend with the Mega Frostlass and the Mega Scovillain. Now, Mega Scovillain was typically brought to counter Charizard's physical attacker buddies. You'll be able to burn them and redirect any attacks with Rage Powder, a great combination. But in this case, if you think your opponent's going to be bringing the Mega Lopunny, you almost want to bring your Mega Scovillain. Otherwise, you want to bring your Mega Frostlass to be able to handle the Venusaur a little bit better. Maybe have that Aurora Veil to match the threat of the screen from the opposing Sableye. It's an interesting balance for Zachary to be in. The rest of the team, though, is pretty standard to what you'd expect from this composition. Looking at the stat alignments, adamant seems to be the word of the day for Zachary, as Basculegion, Kingambit, Lycanroc, and Sneasler all appear to be more attack-weighted, which, again, is what you'd expect from this composition. What I am curious to see is to get a little bit more information about this Kingambit, as a lot of the Sword Stance varieties have been trained a little bit more bulkier. They want to sneak in that Sword Stance so that those Sucker Punches and then those Kowtow Cleaves can do really big damage.
Mega Frostlass is another Ghost type, Gabby, that's accidentally weak to close combat from the Mega Lopunny, right? Because of its Ice secondary typing. But game 1 of round 6 of NAIC, Chase Libert versus Zachary Weed. We have Venusaur Sableye versus Sneasler and Basculegion.
So Venusaur, the Mega of choice so far for Chase. We'll have to see if he locks in that Mega Evolution turn 1. But overall, both these Pokemon in a great spot for Chase, as Sableye has its choice of what move it wants to use this turn, can set up a Reflect to block heavy physical damage from the opposing side of the field, could otherwise just hang out for a turn and wait to encore one of Zachary's Pokemon into a attack the following turn.
Mega Venusaur will Mega Evolve, getting that thick fat ability, reducing damage it would take from fire and ice attacks. And now we're going to take even less from the two physical attackers on Zachary's side because of the Reflect, limiting, or reducing, I should say, physical attacks for the next 5 turns. The Wave Grass Sableye would not have been able to take that hit without Reflect being up here. So now it can either click a Light Screen or go for something else next turn.
Yeah, and Zachary has to respect the threat of Encore, like I was alluding to earlier. That's one of these things that a lot of people are doing now to stop Fake Out users from following up with an attack. Sableye might not go for it. Like you were saying, we could see a Light Screen here. We could see maybe a Rain Dance to try and set up for something a little bit different later on. But regardless of what Chase does, Zachary has to respect it, which is why we see the switch.
Frostlass swapping into that position that Sneasler was in, and a double swap actually. Zachary just revealing all 4 of the Pokemon he brought here in game 1 right away on turn 2. Chase will swap the Sableye out into Archaladon, trying to get that ready for next turn. Oh, Giga Drain is resisted into the King Gambit switch, so very safe from Zach, knowing that your Steel type would take way less damage than Basculin.
Yeah, but Venusaur almost heals back all of its health from that fake out. So overall, you get essentially what you were going to get out of that turn. You know, sending in the Archaladon here is nice, as it is going to have some great typing into the opposing Frostlass. It doesn't have to worry about this opposing King Gambit as much because it hasn't gotten a Sword Stance up yet, so it's not going to be doing some big damage. But both these trainers are also sort of stuck in this position where you kind of have to wait a turn to feel things out before you can start going for those big hits.
Mega Frostlass for Zachary, setting up the snow as it's weather, and now you can click Aurora Veil.
Yep.
Who needs to click Reflect, then Light Screen, Gabby, when you can just click Aurora Veil and sets both of them up in the same turn. Now Flash Cannon only does 50%, a little over to Frostlass, so without the Aurora Veil would have potentially been the knockout there. And the Earth Power, King Gambit takes the Earth Power incredibly well. Now, it looks like it would be able to even endure another Earth Power next turn, and Zachary gets 2 boosts to his attack stat thanks to those Dancing Swords.
It's interesting to me that Chase decided to attack both of Zachary's Pokemon instead of focusing in on one, maybe anticipating the Aurora Veil. As, you know, like you said, it did half. Both those Pokemon could have been knocked out if it wasn't for the fact that Aurora Veil was set up. So I think that Chase wasn't necessarily anticipating Zachary to go for the Sword Stance on that turn. And now that Zachary has gone for the Sword Stance, we're looking at a very different game here. Chase has to be very careful about what Pokemon gets caught. Thankfully, it was the Archaladon who doesn't care as much, but that Venusaur could have been in big danger.
And Blizzard is a neutral hit into Archaladon and neutral to Venusaur thanks to Thick Fat. It takes that like a champ, doesn't even have Light Screen up, and is able to eat both of those Blizzards with a Flash Cannon in response, taking down Zachary's Mega Frostlass. Archaladon really bulky with those leftover recoveries as well. They trained a little more defensively, and Earth Power does clean up the KO. So both of Zachary's Pokemon down this turn.
And that is information about this Archaladon that Zachary can take into the next matchup, as a +2 Sucker Punch plus a Blizzard was not enough to guarantee the knockout on the opposing Archaladon. With that much health left, it was most likely a roll, but you want the guarantee in that spot. So great information for Zachary moving forwards. Now you're still in a okay spot, knowing that you have your Basculegion and your Sneasler. Sneasler can sort of help with the Archaladon, but it's the Venusaur that's the big problem. Neither of those Pokemon can really damage it, and that's exactly why Chase is protecting it this turn. It's the #1 target for Zachary.
Ooh, Sneasler with the close combat into Archaladon. It could have used any amount of HP there to get the KO because close combat is so strong and Archaladon was so low, but you also are going to be able to get rid of Archaladon and activate Sneasler's White Herb, boosting its speed, doubling its speed with its Unburden ability. Last Respects is the attack for Zach's Basculegion here. Is not Choice Scarf. You see it is Citrus Berry, a more bulky Bask, as people like to call it. So it is able to swap its moves around.
Exactly, and that makes me wonder just how much will this Last Respects do once Reflect is reset by the Sableye, as there's nothing Zachary can do to really stop Sableye from resetting Reflect on the field. Because Chase protected the last turn, there's nothing really stopping Zachary from double targeting the Venusaur this turn. And again, knowing just how Venusaur matches up into the Basculegion in particular, I do think that would be the optimal play for Zachary here. Just it's the Pokemon that you really want to target down. But Chase just, again, anticipating another move here, trying to lock the Sneasler into close combat so it keeps lowering its defenses. And it can't attack Sableye.
And it went into the Sableye. It was definitely going to go for something else there, but because of the fighting type into a Ghost, it's no Mega Lopunny, Gabby. It's not going to be able to hit that Ghost type. The Venusaur will be able to get the Giga Drain into Basculegion, bringing it below 50%, but it will eat a Citrus Berry. Now Last Respects into the Venusaur. It's so bulky. Venusaur gets so many defensive stats when it Mega Evolves that it tanks that Last Respects like it's nothing.
But hypothetically speaking, if that Last Respects had another 50 base power from a knockout, that looked like it could have been a one-hit KO. So just things to keep in mind as we move forward throughout this game. Reflect would have made a huge difference as well, so you just have to mind where the shields are in this game, especially seeing that Sableye is still available to Chase and most likely would be a Pokemon he'd want to keep around going into games 2.
Yeah, as we're getting towards the end of game 1 here, right? A lot of Pokemon very low HP, very much threatened for the chance of being KO'd. Oh, Aqua Jet into the Venusaur, though, is going to bring it down in the red. Sableye gets to click Reflect now, mitigating some of that physical damage Zachary has out here. And it's the close combat that was encored into. You're forced to close combat. Venusaur doesn't care. Chase hanging on with 2 hit points. Venusaur is literally 1v4ing this game.
Mega Venusaur is probably one of the most bulky Mega Pokemon. The only one I can think of besides it is probably Mega Steelix and Mega Tyranitar.
Mega Aggron, too.
Mega Aggron, yes. We've all seen these Pokemon do decently well at the VGC level, but still, Mega Venusaur hasn't really had its moment in the sun yet, but here in this matchup, it is finding the board position that it needs to just stick around on the field. The Giga Drain recovery has been excellent for it, especially from Basculegion, who's just been sticking around long enough to help Venusaur hang out on the field even longer.
The poison typing is so good for Venusaur. You usually think of it, it's the grass first partner Pokemon, right? You always think about it's grass typing, but the poison making it resist close combat helped it endure that hit. Now he's been encored into Aqua Jet, so you can't go for Last Respects. Sableye putting in work here. There's the close combat, and it's nowhere near enough damage for the knockout onto Venusaur, lowering its special, or its defense and special defense by 1 stage. Basculegion, Zachary's best threat in this game 1, is now taken out.
And another unique mechanic there about priority moves, Basculegion most likely switching from a priority move to Last Respects, like you mentioned, which meant Sableye attacked first with Encore, which was a priority move, therefore locking the Basculegion into Aqua Jet and just having it attack at that point in time. So just little things that make a huge difference in these larger games. Basculegion unable to take advantage of its full power in that end state.
Chase Libbert 1 victory away from securing his position in Phase 2 of NAIC here this weekend. Definitely feeling confident. We check out the replay, Gabby. One thing I was going to bring up during the team preview, when you look at it, besides Frostlass, who the Mega Venusaur cannot hit super effectively, Venusaur with Sludge Bomb, Earth Power, Giga Drain hits 5 of Zachary's Pokemon super effectively. And when you set up Reflect, when you're able to support the Venusaur, and when you don't take super effective damage from Blizzard because of Thick Fat, Venusaur can just sit on the field every turn and recover up and slowly but surely win the game.
And that's exactly what we saw from Chase in game number 1. And that's what Zachary's going to have to figure out how to stop in game number 2. And I think we saw the little bits of that plan coming together towards the end of the game. I mean, we saw that Blizzard hit the Venusaur. It still did a lot of damage without Light Screen on the field. You know, we saw just how much that close combat did. We saw how much Last Respects did. Those big hits are available to Zachary. It's just a matter of lining them up in the right sequence order. And going into this game number 2, I think he really has to put his mind on the field, figure out where those attacks are going to land, assuming that Chase even gives him the option to attack Venusaur at the start of the game.
Basculegion and Frostlass, the lead for Zachary, wants to recover in this game, wants to force a game 3 against Chase Libbert's Sableye and Venusaur.
What I like about this lead from Zachary is that he led a physical attacker and a special attacker. He also led his Pokemon that can use Aurora Veil to potentially match Sableye's own Reflect or Light Screen. So Zachary really just leading with everything he has available to him and forcing Chase to make a very tough decision here. Do I attack? Do I set up Reflect? Do I set up Light Screen? There are so many different things that Zachary could do in this position that Chase has to respond to, and he doesn't necessarily have the ability to double protect, as Sableye doesn't have Protect available to it. So if Venusaur decides to protect and then Sableye's just kind of left,
takes a lot of damage,
then all of a sudden that's a critical piece of Chase's approach to game 1 gone.
No swaps from either trainer here on turn 1. Mega Frostlass evolving, setting up the snow here. You can click Aurora Veil while the snow is active, just like Zachary did in game 1. Venusaur will Mega Evolve as well. Its thick, fat ability letting it take reduced damage from what would have been super effective fire and ice attacks, especially the Blizzard that is coming its way this turn. Now, Venusaur takes that very well, not even 50% to in that spot, but it's going to heal up so much as Basculegion brought down into the red immediately on turn 1.
And if that Basculegion went for a wave crash here, that's going to bring it right back down to the red after the Citrus Berry recovery.
There is that wave crash Gabby into Sableye, takes it out though, so no more shenanigans from Sableye in game 2.
I think that's a fair trade at the end of the day. Yes, your Basculegion is still, hanging out on the field with a little bit of health left, but that Pokemon that caused you so much trouble in game number 1 is gone. Your Frostlass is now the fastest Pokemon on the field, can't be encored into Blizzard once again. So if you want, you can match that Reflect and set up your own light screen at the start of this turn, as our Charlodon or Venusaur can't really do anything to stop it.
Yeah, the only option would be if Pelipper is in the back. You can't click Aurora Veil because the rain will be up, but Chase didn't bring Pelipper in game 1, so that would be a pretty crazy turn of events if he decides to swap Pelipper in here. Instead, Zach is going to preserve Mega Frostlass for later on. Archaudon clicking Flash Cannon into the Sneasler on the switch in. Actually does some pretty solid damage. Oh, but the Giga Drain is resisted, so Chase was trying to double up the Frostlass spot, which allows Basculegion to just stick around and click Wave Crash, albeit resisted into Mega Venusaur.
So hypothetically speaking, that could have been the knockout on the Frostlass we saw miss in game 1, or that could have been a knockout on something switching in to support the Archaudon had the Venusaur left the field. So both trainers kind of waiting to see what would happen that turn. I'm glad that you mentioned sort of the possibility of a Pelipper adjustment from Chase, as I do think that was what was on Zachary's mind that turn. But having the Sneasler switch in for the Frostlass, giving Zachary access to Fake Out here, I think is ultimately more important for his game, as now Chase just has to spend a turn, protecting or otherwise repositioning his Pokemon on the field.
Archaudon swapping out, so now Chase does have to reveal his 4th Pokemon. It is the Choice Scarf Basculegion. Pelipper left at home. Didn't need it in game 1. Feels like he doesn't need it in game 2. Fake Out from the Sneasler will stop Venusaur from going for any attacks this turn, and then some Wave Crash damage, bringing it nearly down to 50%. But one Giga Drain can bring it right back up.
It can, but on the other hand, Basculegion is staying around on the field and not taking big amounts of recoil damage from its own wave crashes. So Zachary able to buy himself time and not necessarily take a lot of damage when you're switching your Frostlass or whatever your final Pokemon is onto the field.
Now Basculegion on Chase's side is full HP. It does have the Choice Scarf. You know it is going to be faster. Maybe you're not necessarily threatened by Lasher Specs at this point since there's no teammates knocked out, right? So more likely to click Wave Crash into that Sneasler slot.
Wave Crash, or you could try and finally knock out the opposing Basculegion. At the end of the day, I think it's more curious to me how Zachary approaches this turn, as he's now on the back foot once again.
Ooh, Protect Aqua Jet. That's the only damage coming out from Zachary's side this turn. And the flip turn on Chase's team wanted to swap back into the Archaudon. Will not be able to, but Venusaur is able to take out Basculegion on Zachary's side. Smart to Earth Power there in case King Gambit's the last Pokemon in the back.
In case the King Gambit, or it could have also been the Lycanroc, right?
True.
Both of those would have done a good amount of damage to those Pokemon. But you were absolutely right, Joe. It is that King Gambit as Zachary's final Pokemon.
And King Gambit doesn't mind facing off against the Basculegion, right? You can click Sucker Punch, and it's Choice Scarf locked into Flip Turn right now, so there's no way of saying Aqua Jet to get out of Sucker Punch.
You could try and switch the Basculegion out here into your Archaudon, just, normal switching, but then you just leave yourself susceptible to a potential close combat here from the Sneasler. We'll have to see if Zachary called it.
Archaudon does switch, so this is a very simple play to avoid Sucker Punch. Did Zachary not anticipate that? We'll go for a regular priority attack instead of the Sucker Punch. Earth Power, though, into King Gambit does well over 50%, so another one will knock it out next turn if it gets the chance. Snow does stop, so eventually, as Reflect wears off, now Archaludon, Venusaur, and Basculegion, they're going to be taking the full front of these physical attackers Zachary has.
And Venusaur's health is so low at this point. None of the Pokemon on Zachary's side of the field are going to be attacking with attacks that Thick Fat will also benefit it from. So it's just going to be relying on its natural defenses in order to take these big hits. Zachary's done an incredible job throughout these turns, just hitting it with attack after attack after attack to slowly wear it down, which is exactly what you have to do when attacking these bulkier Mega Pokemon. You can't rely on a single hit to take it out, you just have to wear it out over time, so that when the moment is right, such as this kind of turn, your opponent's threatened enough that they have to protect, or you're able to just land that final attack to take it out.
Ooh, Sucker Punch from Zachary. Tried to get a little cheeky there, but Chase will not take any damage. And then the close combat into the Ghost typing, so a very clean turn from Chase. Now you can reset whichever attack you want to choice lock into.
But you're still standing opposite a Sucker Punch from the opposing King Gambit, and that Sneasler still can threaten a close combat into the Venusaur. I feel like Chase only bought himself another turn.
But Basculegion, if you're trying to get your opponent to think about attacking it, you can bring Archaludon in and not get Sucker Punch.
Fair enough, fair enough. We also see the opposing Sneasler go for a Protect this turn.
Archaludon does swap into the Venusaur slot. Ooh, and King Gambit protecting. Zachary being completely safe this turn. Wants to gain information. Wants to see what Chase locks into. And Chase deciding Aqua Jet because it is faster priority, meaning Sucker Punch can never attack Basculegion.
Yep, that was the one thing I was thinking about when Basculegion came out onto the field. These Pokemon are at such low health, it's possible that an Aqua Jet could pick up the KO. And even if it doesn't, that does mean Sucker Punch wouldn't knock it out. Unfortunately,
Aqua Jet, it brings it so low, but it's not enough. Close combat into the Steel type Archaludon, super effective. Down into the red. Archaludon's going to get a chance potentially to attack. Basculegion's going to be able to respond. The stamina boost doesn't help when you're on 27 hit points remaining as Sneasler activates its White Herb there, doubling its speed. Flash Cannon, though, into the Steel type.
Oh.
King Gambit hangs on at 2 HP. It's able to Kowtow cleave the Basculegion. Chase's best chance at damage in this game.
the secret was out. As soon as that Aqua Jet was revealed, all King Gambit had to do was survive the turn to fire back a Kowtow Cleave, and Chase tried. The Archaludon held on. The Flash Cannon targeted the right Pokemon, but King Gambit was able to land the attack to get the knockout to keep Zachary in the game.
We've all heard of 1 HP in the dream, but Zachary believes in 2 HP and the same dream at victory. So close at forcing Game 3 in this matchup, Gabby.
Yeah, there still is the Frostlass in the back of Zachary's party as well, but had that Basculegion been able to stick around and then reset its attack to last respects, we'd be looking at a very different game.
Protect from Archaludon. Sucker Punch does take out Venusaur. No thick fat that helps you against Sucker Punch, as we talked about earlier there. And eventually, at some point, Zach will be able to knock out this Archaludon and force Game 3. Really love those adjustments from him. Kind of baiting Mega Frostlass, right? Baiting the chance that you hear something you might be able to Encore next turn. No, swaps it out immediately and goes on the offensive.
Yeah, and taking that Sableye out early was a great call. So going into this game number 3, I'm curious how these players are going to adjust. As you can tell, they're both like thinking about it. Like they have their game faces on, they're locked in.
Yeah, once the Basculegion got knocked out, Zachary had that game locked up. So those last few turns were really just playing it out and anticipating what to do in Game 3. So something we did bring up in that set is obviously the Pelipper resets the rain. It does give the opposing Basculegion more water damage, but Venusaur resists it. Is this a chance, now that you've lost the game, to potentially swap Basculegion or one of your other parts for a Pelipper?
It's a tough call to make because if you are going to bring the Pelipper, what do you leave behind? You could leave behind the Sableye, but if you're able to get those screens on the field, they are very helpful for you. And now that you know that Zachary's going to target down that Sableye a little bit more aggressively as his adjustment, that's not necessarily something that you can make. if you use Rain Dance on your own Sableye, like you just pointed out, Joe, that's another way you could set the weather up on the field, but you do, again, have to be mindful of the fact that Zachary will be targeting down that Pokemon pretty aggressively.
Yeah, that might be a good middle ground, Gabby, to bring Sableye. That way you still have access to Reflect and Light Screen, but then you can still Rain Dance if you are anticipating Mega Frost Blast to click Aurora Veil. Because the Archaludon does do a lot of damage if Aurora Veil is not up. Those Flash Cannons can certainly hurt.
Those Flash Cannons can certainly hurt. Also, Electro Shot would allow the Archaludon to boost the damage of Flash Cannon as well to potentially get around an Aurora Veil.
Our first winning in of NAIC, both Chase and Zachary, the winner of this Game 3, will secure a position in Phase 2 in New Orleans.
And we get an adjustment from Chase. It's actually going to be the Lopunny out of the field as the lead. Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, Gabby's popping off back here, seeing the Mega Evolution adjustment saying, even though Thick Fat helps against Blizzard, it just wasn't enough. Venusaur is too slow. I'm going to use the super speedy Lopunny as Basculegion swaps in to the King Gambit spot. But Basculegion is not immune to close combat or fake out.
It isn't, but this Lopunny's still in danger from the opposing Sneasler, so you have to wonder, there's probably going to be a trade of fake outs here, and by trade I mean Sneasler's probably going to flinch, and we are probably going to see a Reflect setup from the Sableye so that Lopunny has a chance to stick around moving forwards. But looking at its attacks, you know, close combat, U-turn, Mega Kick, you have to wonder, how is it going to land an attack into this opposing Sneasler to knock it out? But then you also have to worry about a wave crash from the opposing Basculegion. It's not really a comfy spot for the Lopunny to be in.
That last game was a lot of back and forth, but Lopunny is not here for a long time, here for a good time, and it's here to boost Archaludon's defense. You turn into your own teammate to give Archaludon +1 defense behind Reflect, and Sableye comes back onto the field.
I love this play so much because Sableye
combat into a ghost type. A perfect turn from our former and final U.S. national champion.
Unfortunately, Sableye will be taking a lot of damage from the wave crash, but Archaludon on the field, +1 defense. Sableye can set up Rain whenever it wants, if it wants to in this position. What an incredible start to this match from Chase. Zachary really has to think hard about how he's going to respond, because even if Sneasler goes for the close combat now into the Archaludon, with that defense boost, it's most likely going to be able to take a potential double up here.
Chase has to be really careful, though. You're setting the Rain up for your Archaludon to click Electro Shot. A 2-turn attack that only takes 1 if the Rain is set. But you might take 2 attacks in response. The close combat is super effective, but behind Reflect and +1 defense, it doesn't even do half to this bulky Archaludon. White Herb will activate for Sneasler. Doubling its speed is going to be the fastest Pokemon, even faster.
It's faster! It's faster than the Basculegion!
And it's faster than Basculegion because it's bulky Bass! It's not Choice Scarf, it's not max speed, and it's Electro Shot going into the Water Fish for super effective damage.
No, it's a Sneasler!
Instead, I was so hyped, I was so ready to see a Basculegion get knocked out, but instead, it's going to be Sableye taken down.
But Sableye, I think it did what it needed to do. It got the Reflect up on the field. It was able to set the Rain
That's
for
what we said,
Archaludon.
Yeah. We said Chase needs Rain either through Pelipper or through the Sableye. He can't let the Basculegion get through. He needs an Electro Shot.
The downside to this position is that as soon as a Frostlass is revealed, the Rain potentially goes away. But the Archaludon did get a +1 in its special attack. And honestly, in this metagame, that's sometimes all you need. That one boost is enough to mess up people's predictions in terms of how much damage they're going to take. And therefore, you know, you could see that Flash Cannon all of a sudden get a KO. You can see the amount of damage just shift into your favor.
Protect from Basculegion, doesn't want to take any damage, and the Aqua Jet takes out Sneasler, so Zachary losing his first Pokemon of Game 3. Electro Shot, you do not care about Protect, because Electro Shot will give the special attack first and then go into it. So now Archaludon is faster than Basculegion and +2 special attack.
This Archaludon has everything going its way.
Oh, and Chase's Choice Scarf, so Basculegion is going to outspeed Zachary's other Pokemon too.
Exactly, and with Frostlass on the field, Zachary has the opportunity to try and get back into this game, but what can you do in this position? You can try and take an attack from the opposing Basculegion, then set up Aurora Veil, but at +2, our Chaladon's essentially going to do the damage that we saw it do normally.
And both of Zachary's Pokemon are ghost types that would be weak to last respect.
Exactly.
Sure, it's only 100 base power because only one teammate has been knocked out, but it's certainly going to be doing a lot of super effective damage, and anything our Chaladon clicks at +2 special attack is going to be doing way too much for Zach to handle.
And if you get through all of that, you still have the Mega Lopunny in the back of Chase's party, which should come in, flinch these ghost-type Pokemon, and otherwise do massive amounts of damage.
Mega Frostlats will Mega Evolve here, setting up the Snow, just like it's done in the first 2 games, but this time around, there's no Sableye to match it later on, trying to match it to Aurora Veil. There's the Aqua Jet, though. Frostlats does not go for Aurora Veil. It goes for a Blizzard. It brings our Chaladon down to 60 HP. Another stamina boost. I believe it is +3 defense right now. And the +2 Dragon Pulse, Basculegion doesn't even get a chance to touch that bridge.
Chase targeting down the Basculegion, anticipating the possibility of a double up into that slot. I think recognizing that the Basculegion was ultimately the scarier Pokemon for that Archaladon moving forwards. With King Gambit on the field now, Zachary is down to his final 2 Pokemon in the set.
Basculegion is choice locked into Aqua Jet. It will always force Sucker Punch to fail if Zachary wants to Sucker Punch this Basculegion. Does he stay in and do a little Aqua Jet damage, or switch out to reset your choice locked attack?
It's a tough call to make, but at the end of the day, if you're playing towards a potential Lopunny versus Frostless endgame, where Lopunny should take that at that point in time, you have to find your way to guarantee the knockout on the King Gambit, and at this point in time, you make that switch.
Basculegion swapping, so it doesn't take any damage here. Mega Lopunny has done its job. Let Mega Lopunny take a Kowtow Cleave, take a Blizzard, whatever. Take it. It will not take a Shadow Ball if it went there, but no. Instead, our Chaladon has to protect and Swords Dance King Gambit. Now at +2 attack. You want to be +3 defense? I'm going to match you with +2 attack.
Here we go. I mean, it's just getting higher and higher stakes here as the mind games start amping up. Lopunny could flinch either of the 2 Pokemon on Zachary's side of the field, but now Zachary threatens his own Sucker Punch into these Pokemon, and you're right that our Chaladon, with those defensive boosts, it's going to come out to about even. You do have to wonder just how much the Sucker Punch could do to the opposing Lopunny. It's scary.
It is +2. It is Black Glasses, boosting your dark type attacks by 20% of your damage as well. But with Fake Out available, the King Gambit might not even get the chance to attack this turn.
This turn for sure, but there still is 1 turn remaining after that. So a double protect here is pretty safe for Zachary. But it wasn't a double.
Protect. The King Gambit wants to go all out. Dragon Pulse, though, into King Gambit. Ooh, it does solid damage, considering it has those Electroshock boosts, but not nearly enough. And now Kowtow Cleave. Black Glasses +2 boosted into Lopunny, but it's still resisted thanks to the fighting typing that Mega Lopunny receives upon Mega Evolution.
A great call there from Zachary, but we're still in the Sucker Punch game. Still within range of a potential knockout there, even with that resistance, thanks to, again, like we were saying, the Black Glasses, the Sword Stance boost. We're still in this tough spot where, does Chase switch? Do you try and land another Kowtow Cleave into that spot? We do know that another Dragon Pulse won't be enough to pick up the KO on that King Gambit, though. That is one piece of information we've solved.
Frostlash just protected last turn, so Jace has to anticipate an attack coming out on this turn, and that is why you protect your Archaladon. Sucker Punch failing into either of the 2 slots because it was either a protect or the Basculegion swap. With all these turns back and forth, Gabby, and now with the Blizzard damage, there is no doubting, and the Sword Stance boost. A Sucker Punch landing into Basculegion will KO it. Is Chase willing to trade his Basculegion to maybe get a KO onto King Gambit somehow?
At this point in time, it's a tough call to make, but I think Chase is very, very smartly, trying to buy himself that time to put off that trade as long as possible. But I think more importantly, he's stalling out the snow turns, because as soon as Blizzard's no longer 100% accurate, I do think it changes how Zachary approaches this end game just a little bit, because we saw how much that Blizzard did into the Archaludon that first turn. I think that plus a Sucker Punch is a guaranteed knockout, but that's also a guaranteed knockout onto the Basculegion.
And no protect from Mega Frost Slash. That was a turn that maybe you could try to protect and bait a Flash Cannon into that slot if the Blizzard doesn't take it. But it is single target now because Basculegion got knocked out. The single target Blizzard takes down Archaludon.
Zachary just making another correct call. No Aqua Jet. Sucker Punch able to pick up the knockout on that Basculegion. It's just the Lopunny left.
And that was the last turn of the snow. Chase had to just last one more turn to not have fully accurate Blizzards, and his Archaludon might dodge an attack and be able to clean up this game. Now it's Mega Lopunny and a dream of only hitting one Pokemon at a time. Frostlass will protect. Zachary might also follow up with a protect on the King Gambit here because his fake out into both slots would have hurt.
Exactly, but after this turn of double protect, Lopunny can only target one Pokemon, and that is going to be the King Gambit, it looks like, but we just see a forfeit.
That's the forfeit because Sucker Punch at +2 and the Black Glasses boost was going to be enough. Zachary Weed, one of our first trainers in the Master Division, qualifying for Phase 2 in New Orleans.
Trainers, the 2026 Pokémon World Championships are taking place from August 28th to 30th, and you can earn special Pokémon Champions rewards through Twitch drops. Watch live on twitch.tv/Pokemon to earn quick coupons, teammate tickets, training tickets, and a special 2026 Worlds Incineroar. This special Incineroar is battle ready with careful stat alignment and a cunning move set of Fake Out, Parting Shot, Throat Chop, and Flare Blitz. Minimum watch time required to earn rewards. Requirements may vary. Terms apply. Visit rewards.pokemon.com for more information.